Welcome back, everyone. The Google Pixel 6 actually ended up just coming out, so let's go and take a look at it against the Pixel 5 and see which specific Android phone you should go and pick up. Now, I love comparing the predecessors to the successors, and there's never been a bigger change in the Pixel lineup, I think, until now. I mean, this is crazy. So, first out the gate, if you want to pick up either one of these, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, there is a pretty ginormous difference, as you guys can tell. The Pixel 6 is a much bigger phone in pretty much every single area. This is a 6.4-inch OLED panel. This is a 6-inch OLED panel. So I think it looks pretty good overall. They both have 90 Hz panels, which is really cool, but there is definitely a big difference in the size as well as the form factor of the phone. So I don't know why this phone randomly shut off, but the thing is with the Pixel 6, it definitely has more of a, I don't know how to describe it, more like a Galaxy Note type of feel to it. And that was something that I kind of saw right out the gate, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but with something like a Pixel 5 on the other hand, this one I think looks good. This one feels more comfortable in the hand for sure, although the Pixel 6 feels more premium. Now in terms of the thinness and thickness between the two, I definitely do think the Pixel 6 is bigger and thicker, but that is a good thing, I think, because it brings more battery life and different things like that, which we'll get into in a second. USB Type-C at the bottom. And on the back, they both have a very different setup. I mean, it doesn't even look like these two things are the same phone or the same lineup at all. With the Pixel 5, we had an aluminum build fingerprint sensor on the back, dual camera setup up here. The Pixel 6 glass back that feels really good in the hand, dual camera setup, but it's more like a Galaxy S10 where it's like kind of spread out across the back, and a fingerprint sensor built into the display up front. So that's a pretty big difference right there as well. Wireless charging on both, which is good. Power button on the side right here, so nothing else super crazy. And that pretty much covers up everything on the outside, so it's definitely pretty crazy. Whole bunch of displays and everything, so I'm really excited about both of these for sure. Now, another big thing is actually within the software itself. The Pixel 6, Google actually just went ahead and switched up the life cycle a little bit, and they actually did state that this specific phone is going to be pretty much lasting longer than the Pixel 5. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. Between both these phones, you are going to be getting a much longer lasting phone from something like a Pixel 6 than a Pixel 5. I think this phone is still good, and I still think it's going to be here for quite a bit of time now. But like I mentioned, with something like a Pixel 6, you are going to be set for a long period of time, which is pretty insane. So when it comes down to both of these, I'm definitely going to tell you, I'd rather have a Pixel 6 than a Pixel 5, but I'm still pretty happy about the Pixel 5 for sure. Now, throughout this whole entire video, my Pixel 5 has been boot looping like crazy, so I don't know why this happened randomly now out of nowhere. So I was going to go ahead and do a speed test right now. I will go ahead and try to troubleshoot my Pixel 5 in real time. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But this is very interesting and kind of weird that my Pixel 5 is starting to glitch up now when the Pixel 6 came out. That's kind of random. I'm not going to spread any conspiracies though. So it looks like it's working for now. We'll go ahead and try to see. So let's go and see which one is the faster one. Now, like I mentioned before, the Pixel 6 has that Google Tensor chipset with 8 gigs of RAM. The Pixel 5 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset with 8 gigs of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of those. So we just got back and it looks like my Pixel 6 and this is totally working fine where my Pixel 5 is totally glitching up. So instead of doing the comparison that I really wanted to do, I guess I'm going to have to talk about the performance and I'll overlay with some B-roll. So what I'll tell you is that for sure, as far as the performance goes, they both honestly are very fast performing phones. I've compared my Pixel 6 even to my Pixel 5a, and I found that that phone was actually very fast. I had very little issues with it. Totally, when it comes down to it, I would much rather have something like a Pixel 6 than a Pixel 5. But I will tell you, even from my Pixel 5a comparison, I was shocked to see how well the Pixel 5a was holding up against my Google Pixel 6. And that is a massive thing to keep in mind. When you have a phone like something like a Pixel 6, you are going to be getting a very solid experience from something like that. But my Pixel 5 has always been good to me. I've had very few issues with this specific phone. And I do think when it comes down to my Google Pixel 5, this is also a very solid phone as well. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. You can see I'm having a ton of issues even throughout this video, but when it came down to both of these phones, even when it came down to my Pixel 5a and even my 5a versus Pixel 5 comparison, I was seeing that my Google Pixel 5 was still holding up extremely well. And for the Pixel 5 to have been kind of a cheap phone when it first came out, and for the Pixel 6 to be $599, I think even cheaper than when the Pixel 5 came out, that makes this phone, in my opinion, still a worthwhile contender in so many different ways, even in the performance segment. With that watered down chipset a little bit, I was kind of interested to see how this phone is going to hold up. And to be honest, this phone's performance was really good throughout my whole year of ownership pretty much. And I've compared this phone against the iPhone 13s, against the iPhone 12s, the 13 Pro Maxes, tons of other phones, the Galaxy S21s, the OnePlus 9s. There were so many phones that came out this year. And this phone held its own. And with stock Android, I'm really happy about that. But with something like the Google Pixel 6, the big thing to keep in mind is that you do have to remember that the Pixel 6 is pretty much rocking a Google Tensor chipset. This thing is going to have solid performance. Right now, it's not going to be perfect. Even look at this. I opened up a game like Temple Run 2, which worked fine on my Pixel 5 when it was fully working. I don't know what's going on now. But for some reason, this game keeps crashing on this phone. I don't really know why. But when it's working, it's perfectly fine. It glitches up here and there, but the big thing to keep in mind is that the Google Tensor chipset that's within this phone, it's going to get better throughout time. And you can see right here, it crashed on me. It's going to get better throughout time, and that's a big thing to keep in mind. You're not going to necessarily be having a phone that's just totally going to glitch up out of nowhere with no reason. Obviously, it's not perfect. Neither of these phones are, but they're stock Android and I like them a lot. So in terms of that, that covers it up in our performance segment. And I might as well go and hit on the cameras and overlay with some B-roll as well. So these phones actually have almost the same type of setup. So dual camera setups on the back, a wide angle lens and an ultra wide sensor. They both can do 4K at 60 on the back, which is good, but only 1080p video on the front, which I wasn't really happy about. And the Pixel 5 camera was actually pretty decent. It was an upgrade, I think, from the Pixel 4, which is good. The Pixel 6 seems almost less of an upgrade. There's a couple cool features built into the Pixel 6 camera that I actually like a lot. And there's a lot of different features built in, like the magic eraser tool that Google put in as well. But I think when it comes down to it, I'm probably more happy about the Google Pixel 5 camera, the upgrade there. However, I will tell you, this is a big caveat. The Pixel 6 Pro camera, meaning the camera that was on the Pixel 6 Pro, not this one, is a beautiful camera. I don't think it's the best camera this year, but it's really, really good. And I'm actually really happy about that phone as well. So in terms of the camera setup, that pretty much covers it up. And to be honest, this video kind of went all over the place because half the things didn't work, but we still made it work, to be honest. I'm really happy you guys kind of worked with me here. Thank you so much. The thing is that with the Pixel 5 and the Pixel 6, I really do think this is a humongous upgrade between these two phones, and I do think it's probably one of the biggest upgrades of all time. Although the performance from what I've tested before, it really wasn't that crazy, even between the Pixel 5a and the Pixel 6 wasn't that crazy. I'm assuming the performance was going to be around the same here too. I'm going to tell you, I do think that the Pixel 6 is a massive upgrade, not even just only in terms of build quality. It's a bigger phone, you know, you're getting a lot of capability here, better camera setup, I would imagine. Definitely much more premium feeling phone, potentially better performance. But here's the thing, right? I want to tell you that chipset, the fact that Google now makes the hardware and the software, meaning the chipset and the software, they can tune these things up and it's much easier for them to fix certain things. With the Pixel 5, I mean, I don't want to say this problem was caused, okay, now it's randomly working at the end of the video. I don't want to say this problem was caused just entirely from, you know, the chipset or whatever, but I feel like if Google had a random problem like this, I feel like it'd be easier and much better to fix it on their own hardware and their own chipset rather than relying on something like Qualcomm or relying on someone else to fix those things. So I do think even if right now the chipset seems kind of like the same speed as the Pixel 5, I think that's kind of a win for Google to kind of develop and engineer a product that's already kind of caught up to the market on their first try, which is really cool. The display is really good on this phone, and I like this phone overall. But I do think the Pixel 5 is still a very good phone too. I would recommend though, I mean, if you have the money, going up to a Pixel 6 I think is worth the money for sure. But you can't really go wrong with either one of these. I'm a fan of both these devices. I think they're really, really good phones, and I would recommend you guys to pick them up for sure. So in terms of that, that covers it up. Thanks so much for working with me on these videos. So I don't know why my Pixel 5 was glitching up like this, but I'll go ahead and fix it for you guys in the next video. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.